The indigenous European religions, a collective term for the pre-Christian belief systems of Europe, encompass a vibrant and diverse array of polytheistic and animistic traditions spanning the Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic regions. These spiritual practices, deeply rooted in the regional cultures, languages, landscapes, and historical contexts of their respective peoples, form a rich tapestry that reflects the multifaceted spiritual heritage of the continent. Celtic polytheism, flourishing in Gaul, Britain, and Ireland, revered deities such as Cernunnos, a horned god embodying fertility and the untamed wilderness, and Brigid, a goddess associated with poetry, healing, and smithcraft, with rituals conducted in sacred groves under the guidance of druids, who served as both spiritual and political leaders. Germanic polytheism, including the Norse religion of Scandinavia, worshipped Odin, a god of wisdom, war, and death, and Thor, a thunder deity wielding the hammer Mjolnir, through sacrifices known as blots and a cosmology centered on Yggdrasil, the world tree connecting 9 realms. Slavic polytheism, prevalent in Eastern Europe, honored Purin, a thunder god linked to oak trees and warfare, and Veles, an underworld deity associated with cattle and wealth, with rituals performed at natural sacred sites like rivers and groves. Greco-Roman religion, distinguished by its literacy and organizational structure, venerated Zeus, a sky and thunder god, and Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, supported by temples and written texts such as Homer's Iliad and Hesiod's Theogony. Baltic polytheism, rooted in Lithuania and Latvia, centered on Dives, a creator sky god overseeing the cosmos, and Perkunas, a thunder deity, with worship conducted at fire altars and sustained through oral myths. Finnic religion, characterized by its shamanistic practices, celebrated Ukko, a sky and thunder god, and Tapio, a forest deity protecting hunters, with rituals at sacred stones known as sidas, emphasizing trance-based communion with the spirit world. These traditions, predominantly oral except for the Greco-Roman reliance on written texts, shared a deep reverence for nature and spiritual realms, such as the Celtic otherworld, a mystical plane of ancestors and renewal, Norse Valhalla, a hall for fallen warriors, and Finnic Tuonela, a realm of the dead. Common Indo-European archetypes, including thunder gods like Zeus, Purin, Thor, Dives, and Ukko, who embodied power and dominion over the sky, and fertility deities like Brigid, Freya, Mokosh, Zemina, and Demeter, who represented nurturing, growth, and abundance, suggest a shared spiritual foundation despite regional differences. Animal and plant spirits, such as Celtic ravens symbolizing omens, Germanic wolves linked to Odin, Slavic bears tied to Veles, and Finnic swans associated with the soul, further underscored this animistic worldview, reflecting a profound connection to the natural world. The Divine Pagan Kindred reveals a universal religion that unites these traditions into a cohesive polytheistic system, recognizing all gods as members of a divine assembly while positing they may be manifestations of a singular divine essence interpreted through diverse cultural, linguistic, and historical lenses. This framework integrates animal and plant spirits, ravens, wolves, domovoi, and a shared spiritual realm, termed the Eternal Veil, to create a networked religion that honors regional differences, from the sacred groves of the Celts to the shamanistic sidas of the Finns, while fostering unity across traditions. Unlike historical attempts at religious unification, which were hindered by tribal isolation, this vision is a creative synthesis, drawing on the rich mythologies and rituals of Europe's past, such as Celtic Samhain, Norse blots, and Slavic Kapala, to craft a modern interconnected spiritual identity. The essay explores the historical foundations of these traditions, the structure of the Divine Pagan Kindred's divine assembly, the integration of spirits and the Eternal Veil, and the communal framework for uniting these traditions, concluding with the significance of this religion as a celebration of Europe's polytheistic heritage, reflecting a harmonious blend of diversity and unity. Part 1. Historical Foundations of Indigenous European Religions. The Indigenous European religions, a collective designation for the pre-Christian belief systems of Europe, exhibited remarkable diversity across the Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic regions, each shaped by distinct cultural, environmental, linguistic, and historical contexts. These traditions, rooted in the spiritual and material realities of their landscapes, form the foundational religious identity of their respective societies, reflecting a complex interplay of tribal customs and natural reverence. Celtic polytheism, practiced in Gaul, Britain, and Ireland, revered deities such as Cernunnos, a horned god symbolizing fertility, the wilderness, and the animal kingdom, and Brigid, a multifaceted goddess associated with poetry, healing, and smithcraft, with rituals conducted in sacred groves under the guidance of druids, who served as both spiritual leaders and political advisors. Germanic polytheism, encompassing the Norse religion of Scandinavia, worshipped Odin, a god of wisdom, war, and death, renowned for his quest for knowledge, and Thor, a thunder deity wielding the hammer Mjolnir, through sacrifices known as blots and a cosmology anchored by Yggdrasil, the world tree connecting 9 realms of existence. Slavic polytheism, prevalent in Eastern Europe, honored Purin, a thunder god linked to oak trees and warfare, and Veles, an underworld deity associated with cattle, wealth, and the earth, with rituals performed at natural sacred sites such as rivers and groves, preserved through oral traditions by community elders and priests. Greco-Roman religion, distinguished by its literacy and organizational complexity, venerated Zeus, a sky and thunder god reigning over the pantheon, and Athena, goddess of wisdom, courage, and strategic warfare, supported by an extensive network of temples and written texts like Homer's Iliad and Hesiod Theogony, which provided detailed mythological narratives and ritual guidance. Baltic polytheism, rooted in Lithuania and Latvia, centered on Dives, a creator sky god overseeing the cosmic order, and Perkunas, a thunder deity symbolizing strength and protection, with worship conducted at fire altars and sustained through oral myths passed down through generations. Finnic religion, characterized by its shamanistic practices, celebrated Ukko, a sky and thunder god commanding the heavens, and Tapio, a forest deity safeguarding hunters and the wilderness, with rituals performed at sacred stones known as siddhas, emphasizing trance-based communion with the spirit world and oral transmission of sacred knowledge by shamans. These traditions shared polytheistic and animistic traits, with gods embodying the natural forces of the earth, sky, and underworld, and spirits inhabiting landscapes, rivers, and forests. Thunder gods like Zeus, Purin, Thor, Dives, and Ukko suggest shared Indo-European archetypes, their dominion over storms and skies reflecting a common reverence for celestial power across cultures. Fertility deities, including Brigid, Freya, Mokosh, Zemina, and Demeter, embody themes of abundance, growth, and the nurturing aspects of the earth, indicating a widespread celebration of life cycles. Spiritual realms, such as the Celtic otherworld, a mystical plane of ancestors and renewal, Norse Valhalla, a hall for warriors, Slavic underworld, a domain of the departed, Greco-Roman Hades, a realm of the dead, Baltic afterlife, a spiritual continuation, and Finnic Tuonela, a shadowy otherworld, point to a belief in interconnected spiritual planes beyond the physical realm, often accessed through ritual or shamanistic practices. Animal spirits, including Celtic ravens symbolizing omens, Norse wolves linked to Odin's warlike nature, Slavic bears tied to Veles's earthy power, and Finnic bears revered in hunting rituals, were venerated across traditions, underscoring a profound animistic connection to the natural world. The Divine Pagan Kindred draws on these historical foundations, envisioning a new religion that unites gods like Cernunnos, Odin, Purin, Zeus, Dives, and Ukko into a divine assembly, potentially reflecting a singular essence interpreted through diverse cultural lenses. This framework integrates animal and plant spirits, ravens, wolves, domovoi, and spiritual realms into a collective system, celebrating Europe's diverse heritage while fostering a unified spiritual identity rooted in the polytheistic traditions of its past. Part 2. Structure of the Divine Pagan Kindred's Divine Assembly. The Divine Pagan Kindred presents a visionary structure for a divine assembly, uniting gods from the indigenous European religions, Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic, into a sacred collective where these deities coexist as both distinct entities and potential manifestations of a singular divine essence. This dualistic theological framework reimagines the spiritual landscape of pre-Christian Europe, recognizing gods such as Cernunnos, the Celtic horn deity of fertility and the wild, Odin, the Germanic god of wisdom and war, Purin, the Slavic thunder god associated with oak trees, Zeus, the Greco-Roman sky and thunder god, Dives, the Baltic creator and sky god, and Ukko, the Finnic sky and thunder deity, as integral members of this divine assembly. Each god retains its regional roles: fertility for Cernunnos, wisdom for Odin, thunder for Purin, sovereignty for Zeus, creation for Dives, and celestial power for Ukko, reflecting the cultural, historical, and linguistic interpretations that shape their worship across diverse traditions. The assembly posits that these gods, though distinct in name and narrative, may embody a unified divine force, akin to a cosmic spirit manifesting through a myriad of attributes and regional identities, offering a harmonious synthesis of Europe's polytheistic heritage. The unity within this divine assembly is vividly illustrated by the thunder gods, Zeus, Perun, Thor, Dives, and Ukko, who share attributes of sky dominion, power, and stormcraft, suggesting a common archetype interpreted through regional myths and rituals. For instance, Zeus's command over Mount Olympus parallels Perun's association with oak groves, Thor's hammer strikes echoing Dives' celestial authority, and Ukko's thunder resonating with Perkunas' fire altars. Fertility deities, including Brigid of the Celts with her poetic and healing gifts, Freya of the Germanic tribes with her love and prosperity, Mokosh of the Slavs with her earth-based nurturing, Zemina of the Balts with her agricultural abundance, and Demeter of the Greco-Romans with her grain harvests, converge in themes of creation and sustenance, their stories reflecting a shared reverence for life's generative cycles. Wisdom deities like Odin, who sacrificed an eye for knowledge, and Athena, patroness of strategic thought, alongside underworld figures like Veles, guardian of the Slavic earth, and Hades, ruler of the Greco-Roman dead, further exemplify shared roles that span the assembly, highlighting a collective spiritual purpose across traditions. The mythology of the Divine Pagan Kindred narrates this assembly as a cosmic gathering where gods deliberate over the natural world and humanity's place within it, their interactions reflecting both distinct identities and a singular essence. A myth might depict Thor and Perun forging storms together under a shared sky, symbolizing their united thunder aspect, or Brigid and Zemina weaving the earth's bounty in a collaborative dance of fertility. This narrative fosters a spiritual vision that transcends historical tribal isolation, allowing practitioners to honor local gods, such as Brigid in Celtic rites with well offerings, Perkunas in Baltic fire ceremonies, or Odin in Norse blots, while recognizing their interconnectedness within the broader assembly. The dualistic theology accommodates this regional diversity, celebrating the cultural uniqueness of each tradition, from the sacred groves of the Celts to the shamanistic Saidas of the Finns, while promoting a unified spiritual identity that draws on the rich tapestry of Europe's polytheistic past. This structure, rooted in the historical reverence for nature and the divine, offers a creative synthesis that honors the multiplicity of gods and their potential unity, providing a foundation for a religion that bridges ancient practices with a modern, interconnected worldview. Part 3: Integration of Spirits and the Eternal Veil. The Divine Pagan Kindred establishes a comprehensive spiritual framework by integrating the diverse animal and plant spirits revered across indigenous European religions, Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic, into a cohesive system, centered on a shared spiritual realm termed the Eternal Veil. This integration reflects the profound animistic traditions of these cultures, where spirits are seen as sacred entities embodying the divine presence within the natural world. Celtic traditions honor river spirits that animate sacred waters, Germanic Landvetter protect the earth's landscapes, Slavic Domovoi guard households as benevolent spirits, Greco-Roman nymphs dwell in rivers, trees, and mountains, Baltic Veles serve as ancestral guardians, and Finnic Haltijas act as protectors of specific places and natural features. These spirits, though bearing distinct names and roles across regions, share a common belief in nature's sacredness, a foundational element of the Divine Pagan Kindred's theology. Animal symbols further enhance this reverence. Celtic ravens symbolize omens and divine messages, Norse wolves embody the wild strength tied to Odin, Slavic bears represent the earthy power of Veles, and Finnic swans signify the soul's journey, all honored through offerings, festivals, and ritual practices that celebrate their divine connections across traditions. The Eternal Veil serves as a unifying spiritual realm that integrates the diverse otherworldly planes of indigenous European religions into a single multifaceted plane, reflecting a shared spiritual essence across cultures. This realm encompasses the Celtic otherworld, a mystical plane of ancestors and renewal access through sacred groves, Norse Valhalla, a hall for warriors, and Hell, a realm of the dead, Slavic underworld, a domain governed by Veles, Greco-Roman Hades, a subterranean abode of souls, Baltic afterlife, a spiritual continuation tied to ancestral memory, and Finnic Tuonela, a shadowy realm of the departed. The Eternal Veil is accessible through a variety of regional rituals, each preserving cultural authenticity while converging in a collective spiritual experience. A Celtic practitioner might enter the otherworld by offering tributes at a sacred well, A Norse follower might invoke Valhalla through a blot sacrifice to Thor, and a Finnic shaman might access Tuonela via trance at a Sida stone, all engaging the same unified spiritual plane. These practices, rooted in the distinct mythologies and landscapes of each tradition, highlight the interconnectedness of their spiritual visions. The similarities among spirits and realms underscore a deep interconnectedness that the divine pagan kindred seeks to celebrate and preserve. Ravens, linked to Odin's wisdom in Germanic myths and serving as omens in Celtic lore, symbolize divine insight across traditions, suggesting a shared perception of avian messengers. Underworld realms like Hell, Hades, and Tuonela share themes of ancestral connection and the afterlife's continuity, reflecting a common reverence for the dead. The integration of these elements allows practitioners to honor local spirits, such as Baltic Velis in ancestral rites or Greco-Roman nymphs in forest ceremonies, while recognizing their unity within the eternal veil. This cohesive spiritual framework celebrates Europe's animistic heritage, preserving regional distinctions like Slavic Kapala fires or Finnic bear rituals, and fostering a religion that bridges cultural diversity with a unified spiritual identity. The eternal veil, as a shared realm, enhances this synthesis by providing a common ground where the spiritual practices of sacred groves, fire altars, and shamanistic trances converge, creating a vibrant tapestry of belief that honors the past while envisioning a collective future for Europe's polytheistic traditions. Part 4. Communal Framework of the Divine Pagan Kindred. The Divine Pagan Kindred establishes a robust communal framework to unite the diverse traditions of indigenous European religions, Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic, ensuring representation for all regions while fostering a collective spiritual identity rooted in their shared polytheistic and animistic heritage. This framework, designed to harmonize the rich cultural tapestry of these traditions, integrates a syncretic ritual calendar, a shared mythology, a networked communal structure, and innovative ritual practices. By blending regional diversity with a unified theological vision, the Divine Pagan Kindred creates a vibrant, interconnected religion that celebrates Europe's spiritual past, drawing practitioners together into a cohesive community that honors both individual traditions and their collective essence. The ritual calendar serves as a cornerstone of this framework, combining key festivals from each tradition into a unified cycle that reflects the Divine Assembly's seasonal rhythm. Celtic Samhain, a harvest festival honoring ancestors with bonfires and offerings, merges with the Germanic Norse Yule, a midwinter celebration marked by feasting and the Yule log, and the Slavic Kapala, a summer solstice fire festival celebrating fertility. Greco-Roman Saturnalia, a period of feasting and role reversal, aligns with Baltic solstice fires, honoring the sun's cycle, and Finnic midsummer rites, which celebrate the longest day with rituals at Sidas. Each festival retains its regional flair, such as the Celtic use of sacred wells or the Slavic tradition of wreath floating, while being celebrated collectively as expressions of the Divine Assembly's enduring cycle, fostering a shared spiritual experience across traditions. The shared mythology weaves a narrative that portrays the Divine Assembly, comprising gods like Cernunnos, Odin, Purin, Zeus, Dives, and Ukko, as a cosmic collective, their stories reflecting both distinct roles and a potential unified essence. This mythology might depict Zeus and Purin forging storms together, symbolizing their shared thunder aspect, or Brigid and Mokosh weaving the earth's bounty in a collaborative dance of fertility, illustrating their common nurturing qualities. The narrative draws on Celtic tales of the Tuatha Dé Danann, Norse sagas of Yggdrasil, Slavic myths of Purin's oak, Greco-Roman cosmogonies, Baltic legends of Dives's creation, and Finnic stories of Ukko's sky, blending them into a cohesive tapestry that emphasizes the interconnectedness of these deities. Practitioners engage with this mythology through storytelling during rituals, reinforcing the unity of the Divine Assembly and its cultural significance. The communal structure organizes practitioners into regional councils, each representing a specific tradition: Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic, networked with one another through annual gatherings and the establishment of multi-tradition shrines. These shrines, adorned with altars dedicated to gods like Brigid, Thor, and Perkunas, alongside symbols of the eternal veil, serve as sacred spaces where practitioners from different regions converge to honor their deities collectively. Annual gatherings, held at significant sites such as sacred groves or fire altars, facilitate the exchange of rituals and myths, strengthening the communal bond and ensuring that each tradition's gods and practices are respected and represented within the broader assembly. Ritual practices within this framework blend regional customs into syncretic ceremonies, such as offerings to the divine assembly or meditations on the eternal veil, combining practices like Norse blots, Baltic fire altars, and Finnic shamanistic rites. For example, a practitioner might offer mead to Thor during a blot while meditating on the eternal veil, integrating the thunder god's power with the spiritual realm's unity. This approach preserves local rituals, Celtic well offerings, Slavic cupola fires, Greco-Roman temple rites, while fostering a collective identity, creating a religion that respects regional differences and unites practitioners through shared theology and communal events, reflecting the harmonious diversity of Europe's polytheistic traditions. Conclusion: a unified celebration of Europe's polytheistic legacy. The Divine Pagan Kindred exalts the spiritual legacy of Europe's indigenous religions as a universal polytheistic framework, uniting the gods of Celtic, Germanic, Slavic, Greco-Roman, Baltic, and Finnic traditions into a divine assembly that reflects both a collective pantheon and a potential singular essence. This assembly encompasses deities such as Cernunnos, the Celtic horned god of fertility, Odin, the Germanic god of wisdom and war, Zeus, the Greco-Roman sky deity, Purin, the Slavic thunder god, Dives, the Baltic creator god, and Ukko, the Finnic sky deity, each revered for their distinct regional roles, nurturing the earth, wielding thunder, or guiding wisdom, while suggesting a unified divine force interpreted through diverse cultural, historical, and linguistic lenses. By integrating the rich regional rituals, mythologies, and communal structures of these traditions, the Divine Pagan Kindred celebrates Europe's diverse spiritual heritage, weaving together the sacred groves of the Celts, the blots of the Norse, the fire altars of the Balts, and the shamanistic siddhas of the Finns into a cohesive religious vision. This framework fosters unity among practitioners, offering a new and dynamic perspective on a pagan religion that honors the continent's polytheistic past while creating a harmonious spiritual identity for modern adherents. The integration of spirits further enriches this universal framework, recognizing animal and plant spirits, such as Celtic ravens, Germanic landvetter, Slavic domovoi, Greco-Roman nymphs, Baltic velis, and Finnic haltijas, as sacred entities that embody the divine presence within nature. These spirits, revered through offerings and festivals across traditions, reflect a shared animistic worldview that connects the diverse regions, enhancing the religion's cultural depth. The Eternal Veil, a unified spiritual realm encompassing the Celtic Otherworld, Norse Valhalla, Slavic Underworld, Greco-Roman Hades, Baltic Afterlife, and Finnic Tuonela, serves as a central element, providing a collective plane where these regional mythologies converge. This realm, accessible through rituals like Celtic well offerings, Norse blots, or Finnic shamanistic trances, symbolizes the interconnectedness of Europe's spiritual landscapes, offering practitioners a shared space to explore their ancestral beliefs while reinforcing the religion's unity. The communal structures of the Divine Pagan Kindred, including a syncretic ritual calendar that blends festivals like Samhain, Yule, Cupola, Saturnalia, solstice fires, and midsummer rites, and a shared mythology narrating the divine assembly's cosmic deliberations, provide a practical foundation for this vision. Regional councils, representing each tradition, coordinate through annual gatherings and multi-tradition shrines, ensuring that gods like Brigid, Thor, and Perkunas are honored alongside one another, fostering a collective identity. Ritual practices, such as syncretic offerings and meditations on the eternal veil, combine diverse customs like blots and fire altars, creating a vibrant tapestry of worship that respects local differences while promoting a unified spiritual experience. This unifying religion embraces a vision for a cohesive pagan faith, distinct from historical tribal isolation, by drawing on the strengths of Europe's polytheistic traditions. It celebrates the diversity of its gods, spirits, and rituals, while the eternal veil and communal framework provide a unifying thread that connects practitioners across regions. The Divine Pagan Kindred stands as a testament to the enduring power of Europe's spiritual heritage, offering a modern religion that honors the past's richness and fosters a sense of unity, providing a spiritual home for those seeking to reconnect with their ancestral roots in a structured, interconnected community.